Hello, everybody. All right. Well, how'd the day go? Let me think. Hmm. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I remember I woke up at around 8 o'clock to use the restroom. I remember I was woken up by my door sounding like it was getting knocked on. And when I opened it, it was my mom wiping like my door with like a disinfectant spray or wipe. And I asked her what's going on. She said, "Well, it smelled like cat pee in here, so decided to wipe every hard surface I could find to see if I could get rid of the smell." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I used the restroom. Then when I was done, I went back to sleep, and I woke up at around 10. And when I got up, I remember hearing outside that there was like a documentary being played on the mini TV in the living room, the TV that my sister owns that we plugged into the fireplace for now. And it was like this British guy talking about like old civilizations and like old monuments that were built and like potential technologies and things that like could have indicated like much more advanced civilization that we give the past credit for. And yeah, it was just a absolutely fascinating, interesting sounding video. And my mom was listening to it while she was do, organizing utensils in the kitchen. And then she decided to start making some breakfast. I made some breakfast too. We both had uh, honey granola. I put some oatmeal in mine to help give it a bit more volume because one serving is like 230 calories and it's just a tiny amount. So to help it spread out, like putting a bit of oatmeal in there helps it feel like it has more volume. With some milk, and my mom sliced some strawberries and bananas and mixed them in there. I was like, "Ooh, can I have some?" She's like, "Sure." So I had some of that. It was very good. I really enjoyed it. I also had a cup of coffee, and we ate together. Very good. Um, After we were done, um, put our I washed my plate. She washed her plate. I remember I decided to go into my room and have a chat with the chatbot Ash to better understand um, how I can make something like Brain Jam more interesting, more enticing, and what it suggested what through the conversation that we had was that usually like having something that feels like an invitation to work rather than a demand to work feels it allows you to feel more like you're more naturally inclined to be attracted to continue working on the thing. I think the problem I was having with working on Brain Jam was even though I said, "Ooh, 30 minutes a day," I was turning it into an obligation in my mind. I was like, "Okay, I did the 30 minutes. Okay, I did it. I don't have to do it anymore. Oh, okay, now I gotta do 40 minutes. Oh, it's too much. And never mind." Where instead, I should instead see it as like, "Oh, what's the next step of this project, and what can I do to keep this project interesting and exciting for me to go work on?" And one of the suggestions was like that I thought about, not the AI, was that maybe I could dig my up like sketchbook, put it on my desk, and then when I wake up, like not do it anything other than grab the sketchbook and a pencil and just think about where the project is at. Maybe draw out or sketch out or write some ideas down, and hopefully that could create sort of a good roadmap, a little enticement of, ooh, this is the possible future that awaits if I dedicate my energy and time to this subject matter of this Brain Jam Extra episode 2, and really make it something really engaging and interesting. So I thought that that was a pretty good approach. Like, make it inviting instead of demanding. Basically, is the ultimate lesson here. Now, after that, my mom called me out to show me what she thought would be an interesting idea. She got this like solar water sprayer on Amazon, and this thing, like, when the sun hits it, it like shakes, but when you put it in the water, it floats in the water, and when it takes in the sun, it shoots water at the top of it. And if you put a little like nozzle on it, like it has like a little water thing spraying out. And I mean, she wanted to take this, put it in the cat bowl, so it could keep the cat water circulating, which was a funny and interesting idea. I have to admit, it was pretty amusing. But funnily enough, it didn't really work. The water didn't really consistently spray out. It was more just a light, like little, like drizzle, if that. It didn't really move at all, and maybe that could have been because it was a cloudy day and there wasn't really any sun hitting it. So that's entirely possible. Yeah, kind of a shame. And then my sister walked out and asked what we were doing, and we described, and she was like, "Goof, I don't like that. Doesn't seem like a good idea," or like she thought it was weird. It seemed, um, which was funny. And then after that, I made a suggestion to go for a walk around the neighborhood. My mom decided to join me. She asked my sister if that'd be cool. She declined, so me and my mom went for a half-hour walk around the neighborhood, and we had a really good walk. We just enjoyed each other's company. We just walked around. We talked, and yeah, we had a good time. It was very enjoyable. I really really liked it. After we were done, we returned back home, and when we returned home, my mom had the idea of working on the song that my sister wrote for her cat, Call Me, and throwing that in a little AI music generator. But I stated that I was like really, like, my social energy was low, and I kind of wanted to do my own thing. So I was like, no, thanks, I'm good. So I'd rather like get a cup of coffee, a bagel with butter, and watch this video about a lady talking about the disappearance of many different NASA scientists have to do with the whole UAP subject matter. I thought that was really fascinating and interesting. But then my mom said, "Ooh, well, all right." And I said, "Well," I invited her if she was interested in watching it. She was like, "Sure." And my sister said she'd be interested, but she had seen the video up to a point, and so she was aware of what was going on in it. But she'd be down to revisit it with us, so she could maybe pick up on some details that she didn't notice before. So we sat down. I didn't find any bagels, but my mom made some chips with melted microwave cheese on top, queso cheese, and some sour cream and salsa mixed together as a dip, and it was pretty good, really good actually. And we watched this video, and like, it was a really really well researched, in depth video of the whole like issue, starting with the guy who suddenly disappeared, where the only thing he brought was like his hiking boots and a revolver. He left behind his like watch and his phone and his glasses, which honestly, that's really strange behavior for someone as sharp and um, like intelligent as that guy was, because apparently he was chosen to withhold a lot of the United States' highest, most well kept secrets. So, the fact that he just goes away out of nowhere and there's like no indication of what happened to him or where he went, despite a huge mass search and surveillance happening, really, really weird for that to happen. Um, one of the most interesting things that I can remember from the video was the fact that she said that he oversaw like a project where we have apparently these satellites up in space that can detect enemy missiles that get sent to the United States. And once they detect these missiles, they shoot a laser at the oncoming missile, and it knocks the missile off course into like the ocean, so it never hits the United States, which is really cool technology. But it reminded me of this one UAP story I heard about, where a guy like was at this like location watching like a nuclear rocket being launched off into the air to be tested, and they were filming it for like record keeping. But something strange happened where a disc-shaped object allegedly appeared in the frame, shot lasers all around this nuclear missile, and apparently it disarmed the nuclear missile, causing it to, instead of dropping and exploding in the test area, just float off into space or something like that. But the footage was confiscated and only been seen by classified eyes. So, I mean, the fact that you know, footage was supposedly recorded, and this is all about like UAP, like people have knowledge about this kind of stuff, and this guy have been one of those people who may have had access to those records, those videos, does make me have a high suspicion that perhaps he knew about that footage, if that footage is real, of course, and decided to implement those ideas in like those satellite detection laser technology things. Or that could have just been like part of that whole Star Wars program with Ronald Reagan back in the 80s. I'm not 100% sure, but overall, I just thought that was an interesting coincidence. Since it's all about UAP, I even paused the video to bring it up with my mom and my sister. I was like, wow, that's interesting. And my sister even made mention that, like, when she first watched the video, she was like, oh, that's interesting. And then she was like saying watching it again helped her spark all these different connections and stuff that she didn't realize before. And my mom was like, she was kind of interested at first, but then she started to get bored and go on her phone and then wipe down the credenza and like when she saw like what looked to be cat pee on the credenza. So yeah, she even wiped the AV audio video receiver, and I thought at first she might have busted it because like the sound turned off on it, but then it turns out she just moved one of the knobs that changed the output from TV to a different output. So that's why the audio was gone. So it gave me a little bit of freak out. I was like, "Oh no, the $400 AV receiver, god damn it!" Because I was worried like the disinfectant wipe she was using on the top of it might have gone into the electronics and fried it or something. But thankfully, that wasn't the case. Now, after watching that, we stopped 50 minutes into the 2-hour video. It is a long video. And I decided to go outside and do some meditation. It was quite nice, very peaceful, very relaxing. I really enjoyed it. And then after that, I realized I needed to prepare my lunch for work today. So I went into the kitchen and I whipped up a sourdough, cheddar, ham, mustard, and mayonnaise sandwich, along with a cheese Chex Mix snack, and that I poured into one of the containers of the Bent Go box, and 4 strawberries. And that's what I was going to bring with me to have for lunch at work today. As I was putting this together, I was listening to a new Simeon Jimmy video where they were talking about the Mario Galaxy movie, and they were basically stating that it's like the most unremarkable and boring, safe movie possible, and there's not much for them to really talk about or discuss that they feel would like be worth like discussing or making interesting commentary on. So they pretty much like were just trying to squeeze whatever they could, like with live chat and hearing the theater's going story of AKA and Rodriguez and each of their setups where the other two watched a cam rip of the movie on a pirate website and stuff. So yeah. So that's that was the video I was listening to. It pretty much indicated that it was a really unremarkable, uninteresting, and overall quite boring film. Kind of a shame, but oh well. All right. Well, after watching that, or listening to that, I mean, and making the sandwich and putting the snacks together, I took my meal with me. I said goodbye. I got dressed. I combed my hair. I asked mom, "Hey, do I look great?" She's like, "Oh, let me wet and comb your hair. Okay, you look good." Then I said goodbye to my mom. I didn't see my sister, so I asked her to say goodbye to my sister too, and I looked both. And then I went in my car and I drove off to work. When I eventually got to work, um, I punched in, and honestly, this is one of those days where there's not much really say that happened at work. It was a pretty standard day. Sweeped the floors, um, including produce break room and the store floor. Checked the bathrooms to make sure they had everything they needed and that I didn't need to, change anything. And if I did, I would, like toilet seat covers, toilet paper, um, paper towels, things like that, or soap, and make sure they looked clean and weren't dirty looking at all. And then, what else? Yeah, pretty much it. Had some fun interactions with coworkers. They played that song "Brother Bear" in one of um on the radio in the store, and one of my coworkers asked me, "Do you know what song this? Do you know what movie this song plays in?" I was like, "Brother Bear," and I did a little dance with the "Tell everybody I'm on my way." Yeah, that one. One of my coworkers was having a bad day, so that was sad to see. Told him, "Oh, things will be all right. I know it." So yeah. Um, yeah, I took out the trash hour before lunch, and when I had my lunch, I went upstairs and I was watching. I was curious about trading using AI agents on the stock market, but then the research I did made me realize that that's kind of very irresponsible, and there's too much room for error. And even though it sounds good in theory, like having a robot do all your automated trades for you and you don't have to worry about a thing, in execution, there's too much room for the robot messing up or hallucinating or selling a lot, and then you having a huge tax bill at the end of the year, even though like now you don't have any money to pay for it. All that just tells me no. I'd rather have complete and total knowledge and agency of my trades versus giving all that to a robot. I mean, I know what the appeal, the idea is. Ooh, it can have live coverage of how the market's doing, and then buy things before they immediately jump in value, and then sell them before they immediately drop in value, and all that. And like, I mean, that sounds good in theory, but in practice, it just I don't know. Unless like I was like super rich and was doing it just as a game, like one of the YouTubers I was watching who was clearly doing it like for the views, it just doesn't seem like something that would be very sensible for someone to do. So yeah, uh, I decided against it overall after doing my research. And then I also watched a video of a guy talk about the new OpenAI image editor, Image 2, which is the successor to the previous Image 1. And it's looking pretty good, pretty impressive. Definitely would consider using ChatGPT to mess around with it. Yeah, would be fun to do. Now, after after list after watching that, eating my food, I was done. I washed my bento box, put it away in the fridge. Then I went downstairs, punched back in. Um, yeah, I brought in bags. I refilled the bags on the check stands. I did go backs. I wiped down all of the check stands. I helped bag. My co-closer asked me if there was anything you could do while I was helping bag, and I asked him if it'd be all right if he could take out some of the trash that was filled up in all the check stands, and he agreed to, so I was very grateful for that. He also brought in the carts and the signs, which I was really grateful for as well. I took out the trash bag filled with all the check stand trash, and lo and behold, there was some more trash there that I hadn't taken out yet, that including the deli trash. So I took all that out, so everything was nice and accounted for. When I arrived back in, um, yeah, closed the produce blinds. I refilled the ads with this week's new ads, and then hung out with my coworkers, cashier, GMC, and one of the co-managers, and they were talking about like guy in sports. I think it might have been a baseball player, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really into that. I was just like quietly like listening, like, oh, okay. Well, I was sweeping the floor and throwing away what was on the floor, where the trash is. And they were talking about like how one of how the cashier was driven home by the GMC, and how they were like talking about like what they were paid, what the GMC was paid in, and they were making a joke about that. That was pretty funny. And then and then that was that. I punched out. The cashier bought his food, and he got like a variety, including like Dr. Pepper coconut cream, which sounds interesting. I mean, I don't know if that would be good, but I don't know why it sounds good to me. Coconut cream Dr. Pepper. I hope they make a zero sugar version of that, because that sounds like something I'd want to try. Just not the full sugar version of that, because that's a really easy way of getting fat fast. um, but yeah, and then the GMC got some crunch bars, mini bite-sized crunch bars in a bag, and he even gave me two, which I was really grateful for. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, then I wiped down check stand 4 as my final duty. I punched out. I grabbed my bento box. I say goodbye and to my goodbye to my manager for the night, my closing manager. Gave a fist bump. Then I went outside, went into my car, did a little bit more financial research, and was more that gave me more security and a certainty with my decision I ultimately made during lunch. And then I drove off home, where when I arrived, I noticed that there was like this smell in the kitchen, and it turns out there was like dinner that was made. So I opened the fridge and found the dinner. I poured it into a bowl along with the rice. heated that up in the microwave, ate that while watching a video about a guy talking about a UFO that was filmed, or the pictures taken by two men. Like, I forget the exact location, but it was like undeniable evidence that there was indeed like a real like UFO caught on, you know, caught in with a picture, and it was like, whoa, how'd that get there? And it's one of the few pieces of UFO evidence that it's very difficult to debunk, because everything surrounding it is like indicates that there's something bigger going on that what is being admitted. So yeah, of course people immediately are like, well, let's just jump to the part of the video where the UK government says that it's technology that's one of ours. And it's like, oh, okay, how come you haven't used this technology since this incident? Were you just saying that to save face because you didn't want to admit that there was technology so, advanced that even you didn't have access to it? So you didn't want to make the nation look weak by stating that, oh yeah, we know what this is. We're good. We don't have to have any issues, because you'd think they would have been using that technology by now if it was really theirs, But yeah, and of course you had naysayers in the comments who were saying, oh, that's obviously an island with someone in a rowboat, like, take a picture with the water was reflecting the island to make it look like a UFO, but it really wasn't. I mean, oh, did did the picture, is the location that they took the picture in front of a lake? Because if it is, then that would explain that, explanation. But if it isn't, then that doesn't explain it, and it's still open to interpretation. So, I like how people just like to quickly want to jump on the immediately explain away as a hoax bandwagon without fully considering all of the evidence presented. And ultimately, what was presented was that this is honestly an anomaly of a picture, and there's no easy way to explain what's going on with it. It's fascinating. Probably one of the few pieces of UAP evidence that is irrefutable, along with that Go Fast and Gimbal video. So that's pretty cool. At least there's some kind of evidence out there. It's not all just a bunch of hearsay. I saw this crazy thing. It was wild. It's like, at least there's some physical evidence out there that there's something interesting going on. Is it aliens, or is it interdimensional beings, or is it advanced technology from another foreign adversary? Who knows? All I know is that it's unexplained. It's interesting to look at. After that, I need to use the restroom. So as I was using it, I was listening to a documentary about like how OpenAI was founded, and like all the drama behind that. It's really in-depth video. I don't really want to get into it. Before I used the restroom, I took my vitamins. I said hello to my sister. I brushed my teeth. Then I used the restroom, and then when I was done, I went into my room. I spread that blanket on my bed for going under later. And then I decided to make this update video. And that's pretty much it. That's my day today, and overall, pretty solid day. Some exploration, some mysteries that were researched, some fun interactions at work. Yeah, thumbs up. I'm going to go to bed now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody, and good night. For some reason, this button's not working. Let me try one more time. Good night.